Stay tuned after this game. We are going to be giving away, of course, those 3 months of premium as Osip and I do break down one more final match for you guys this evening.
And it's, again, one of the matchups I was looking forward to seeing this weekend. And Brad, obviously an accomplished pro player. Elliott, actually an accomplished Open Series player. He's won a prior Open Series, I believe a Legacy Open Series. So this should be a very interesting matchup. Brad, obviously the higher seed, the 2 seed, so he gets to be on the play.
Yep. As we see, he's going to lead off with the Goblet Shrine. Elliott with an Overgrown Tomb. We'll see if Brad has a turn 2 play. And it looks like he does have a Cartel Aristocrat, so he's just going to pass the turn back that way. We'll see if Elliott has a Mulch, maybe a Grizzly Salvage. Maybe he draws himself one of his mana accelerants. It looks like he has 4 Pilgrims and an Arbor Elf.
Yeah, so not as many accelerants. He does have 2 copies of Deathrite Shaman, but that really doesn't act like an accelerant. So a pretty good start for Brad because Elliott, the best thing he can do here is probably a Grizzly Savage, but Brad's still going to be able to press his advantage a little bit. He'll be able to attack here. Hopefully he has a Lingering Souls to continue sort of pressing a little bit. So it looks like I see, okay, so yeah, we do have a Lingering Souls. It looks like he also has an Aristocrat in his hand. Not sure if he has a red mana to cast it though.
So there we're going to see a salvage. Just going to turn over a Crater of Behemoth, an Avacyn's Pilgrim, a Woodland Cemetery, a Lingering Souls, and a Thragtusk. So a pretty good one.
Solid one. He can pick up a Thragtusk here. Maybe he wants the mana accelerant, so he can go turn 3, flashback Lingering Souls, Avacyn Pilgrim. But no, looks like he just wants to take the Thragtusk. Not a bad card. He hooks up a creature and flashback and Lingering Soul, so effectively gets a little card advantage there.
So we'll see Elliott take a draw step here. He does draw on Burial Rites for the turn. We will see what he's going to be able to do on his turn 3, as we're being informed that Elliott did win a Star City Games Open Series in Providence late last year with Rug Delver. So an accomplished player here is going to flashback Lingering Souls and make 2 Spirit tokens.
So that Burial Rites is pretty huge because he did mill a Crater of Behemoth. So with the Lingering Souls here, Elliott might be able to just win out of nowhere.
Yeah, a bit of a surprise kill, or at least put Brad at a lot lower life total than he's expecting.
Yeah.
Either way, we do see those 2 Spirit tokens come in. We're going to see 2 more come in on Brad's side as well.
Oh, wow. So Brad, it looks like Brad probably doesn't have a 4th land, which is going to be somewhat of an issue now because Elliott is still, because of that Burial Rites, he could be threatening to deal a lot of damage pretty soon. And it looks like Elliott plans on just taking this.
Yeah, I mean, he can't trade the Spirit tokens for the Spirit tokens. I'd be a little surprised if he did that, and he's choosing not to.
Well, the funny thing is, he actually did draw the 1/7 of the Bloodline. However, obviously it would kill his own Spirit tokens, and Brad can always just choose to sack whatever he targets to the Aristocrat.
Yeah.
So not a very good draw, but...
And of course, the Cartel Aristocrat can just protect itself.
Yeah,
so
you won't really be able to deal with it. You might be able to kill 1 token. Yeah, basically with a 4 mana spell. Not something you want to be doing.
Pretty bad 4 mana investment. Yeah. I would say.
But again, he start getting more stuff into play right here if he wants the Crater of Behemoth to be lethal on turn 4.
So now we're going to see a second Grizzly Salvage turn over 2 Avacyn's Pilgrims, an Isolated Chapel, a Temple Garden, and a Lotleth Troll. So maybe looking for Angel Serenity there. He hasn't turned over Burial Rites yet. Brad doesn't know that he has Burial Rites in his hand.
Or just another creature.
Yeah.
I like just, you want to just cast there, you can dig. Could have taken a Lotless Troll, but again, I like just getting creatures there. You just want to get creatures into play to try to make Behemoth as big as possible.
And you know that Brad is obviously very familiar with Crater of Behemoth as a card. A lot of success with the Hoof, as he does call it. So in the back of his mind, he's got to be thinking, all right, well, if he hasn't turned over Burial Rites yet, he probably has one in his hand. Now, how well can you play around a Crater of Behemoth with Burial Rites when you don't really have a way to interact? You really can't, but you have to think about it. Just, what can I do? Maybe I can block enough of the trample damage to stay alive. You're going to see an Avacyn's Pilgrim. You're going to see a Gavony Township, and Elliott is going to pass the turn back. So Brad's going to untap. He's going to draw, and let's see if he's able to find maybe a red source if he needs one.
Yeah, he had the 4th mana in the Orzhov Guildgate, but he just doesn't have... It doesn't look like he has a red source for the Falconwrath Aristocrat. So let's see. And even if he does draw up a red source, Elliott still does have the Several Bloodline that he can deal with it. But it's going to be interesting to see whether or not Elliott's just cast... Oh, wow. So Blood Artist makes things a little bit more interesting. But again, just being able to get that Behemoth into play, he's going to be doing a lot of damage, although I'm not sure. It's definitely not going to be enough to kill Brad. And Blood Artist makes things a lot trickier to deal with.
Yeah, because if the attack is lethal, we can see some shenanigans here with Cartel Aristocrat, sacking tokens, gaining life, all sorts of stuff like that. And if you're, as you're going to see, a sacrifice here of a Spirit token, so that can have protection from white and be able to push through damage. It looks like that's what he's going to do here. We're going to see him give it protection from green as well. Okay, so he really wants to force through damage. He wants to make sure that he can get damage through, kill, get Elliott dead. That's what you see here.
Yeah, because those lingering souls that he just those tokens weren't doing anything because they just came to play this turn anyway. So why not sack them to do damage and make the aristocrat go through? So doing a lot of damage here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, Elliott basically he has to block here.
So now we see chump blocks. Now Blood Arch triggers are going to go.
Yeah, now everything. So he takes 1, 2, 3, 4, dropping to 6. Then he takes another 4.
Yep.
So I think he's dead no matter what.
And so now you're going to see him sack this, and now you're going to see him sack that. And
yeah, because the other tokens.
because the other tokens, right? And you see Brad doing that right now here. So unless we're missing something, and it doesn't look like it doesn't look like we are. Yeah, so that's it. So yeah, Cartel Aristocrat coming through. You saw Brad. Obviously, he knows how this works with Blood Artist, and that turn of play a Blood Artist, flashback Lingering Souls, attack. It's just like, oh, okay, like whatever. It doesn't seem like that big of a deal. And it's like, no, this is a big deal. Because you're dead now.
Yeah. You have to start adding everything up real quick, and suddenly you're just dead.
Yeah, you don't see Boros Record, you didn't see Blasphemous Act, you didn't see Falkmouth Aristocrat, none of the flashy cards from this deck. You saw Cartel Aristocrat, Lingering Souls, and Blood Artist get the job done.
That was it.
Against Chunk Reanimator before they're even able to cast a Thragtusk?
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive.
Pretty impressive. He basically cast, like, what? Cartel Aristocrat, 2 copies of Lingering Souls, and a Blood Artist. So 4 spells.
Yeah.
Basically, I guess 4 spells the entire game.
No, let's not kid ourselves. Lingering Souls is very good.
Lingering Souls very good, very good.
Yeah, we can't talk crap about Lingering Souls. It's one of the better cards here. But we're going to cut back to the booth really quickly because it is trivia time for you guys. It is time to give away 3 months of trivia, our first of many times this weekend. How you do play this game if you're just joining us for the first time. We're going to ask you a question. You're going to hashtag the answer to hashtag SCG Premium on Twitter. And what we'll do is we'll select one of the people who do get it correct. It's not about speed, it's about accuracy. And then after this round, before we do close the show tonight, we'll announce who does get it and make sure that you're following SCG Live, and we'll be able to get that over to you. 3 months of premium. The question here is, in Brad's main deck of the Aristocrats Act 2, he does have 1 Planeswalker. And if you're able to name the Planeswalker in the main deck of the Aristocrats Act 2, just a singleton copy, tweet that answer to with the hashtag of SCG Premium. And we will again select one winner who does get that question right, again, about speed, about accuracy, not speed. So 1 Planeswalker in Brad's main deck, name that card.
Oh, Lord, I hope somebody gets it.
Oh, yes. Thank you for the hint. I know it was a real doozy. I'll give you a hint. It's not Jace Memory Adapt. There. Happy? Make it a little bit easier for you. So we're going to take a look at the sideboards here. Jump Reanimator. I've never seen Jump Reanimator die that fast unless it's like a Naya Blitz deck. That was kind of weird to me, actually.
Yeah, it was Blood Artist makes things just so tough. You know?
It's just really strange to see. We see Brad's sideboard here. 3 copies of Tormod's Crypt. That, of course, just to interact with the graveyard. That's to come in this matchup, so we're probably going to see those come in. You see a Dreadbore. You see 3 Sorin, Lord of Innistrad, a Blasphemous Act, 3 Duress, 3 Intangible Virtue, and an Obsidat. What we have seen the Aristocrats do in what we've seen the Aristocrats do against control decks is board into a token deck. With the Virtues, with the Sorins, with the Duresses, become this like mid-rangey deck that's very, very hard to fight via Wrath because they can keep making more guys. I don't think that's what they want to do here.
No.
I think maybe you want your Tormod Scripts, maybe you want a Dreadbore to be able to kill a creature, Angel of Serenity, they want to interact with that. Maybe you want that Force Blasphemous Act to be able to combo off better with a Boros Reckoner and those Blood Artists. Maybe you want Duress, but I'd be a little bit surprised.
Yeah, and the thing is, Elliott's deck is actually pretty interesting. He has 2 copies of Abrupt Decay in his sideboard, so he can go up to 4 Abrupt Decay after board, which is going to make it very difficult for Brad to actually try to go for the Reckoner Blasphemous Act combo. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not Brad just takes that combo out completely and just try to win with tokens. Same thing, he has Rock's Faith Mender, so might bring in the Rock's Faith Mender to try to gain life. But again, Lingering Souls, the token plan, doesn't care as much about Rock's Faith Mender, you know? So if Brad sees the Faith Mender and Abrupt Decays in Elliott's sideboard and assumes he's going to be bringing those in, maybe he just does go for the Sorin plan.
Sure.
Because it allows him to sort of get a lot of threats into play that fly. They don't care about Faith Mender. They don't really care about Abrupt Decay. So he effectively neuters Elliott's sideboard plan.
Okay.
But although there is like 1 copy of Divine Reckoning in Elliott's sideboard plan, which does sort of make the token strategy somewhat ineffective, but with only 1 copy of Divine Reckoning, even though he can mill it, I still think it's worth going for the token strategy.
Now we're going to bring Divine Reckoning up on the screen for you guys because I have not seen this card for a little while, and I think you have a better idea of what it does than I do. I know it's that weird like backwards Wrath effect.
Yeah, Josh Rabbits was talking about playing Junk Reanimator, and he mentioned this card. It's basically really good against token decks because it's a Wrath effect, but it forces each player to sacrifice down to 1 creature.
Okay.
So obviously a deck like Brad's deck, where he just tries to get a bunch of tokens into play, it's pretty good against them because they have it makes all their tokens go away, and they're forced to just have one creature. And usually they don't have a large creature in play. You know, it's a pretty small creature. Obviously not that great with a card like Blood Artist.
Yep.
But no Wrath effect is going to be great against Blood Artist. There's not much you can do there. So I think Divine Reckoning is definitely coming in. Faith Mender's probably coming in, but Faith Mender's not even that great in this matchup because a lot of it doesn't really interact well with Brad's plan. Brad's plan is to try to fly through the air with Aristocrats and Lingering Souls token, probably try to generate some advantage with the High Priest. So maybe he's not going to bring in Faith Mender, but again, I think people are just so predispositioned into bringing in Faith Mender against sort of attack decks that he might do it. Although I'm not really sure it's that great against Brad's deck.
Yeah, I find it really strange. I find it really strange that, you know, Faith Mender in this matchup isn't actually very good, whereas you said people are predispositioned to bring it in against aggressive decks, and, you know, you think of the aggressive decks in this format, you think of Experiment Jund, you think of Naya Blitz, you think of Red Green Aggro, you think of decks like that, and you look at Brad's deck here, and it is an aggressive deck, but Faith Mender, I mean, it doesn't interact very well against this deck. There's you know, these things that make the sacrifice so lifing doesn't take place. You've got, you know, you're going over the top here with demon tokens from the High Priest, Aristocrat, Lingering Souls tokens. This is just like an overcosted 1/5 that, yes, there is a perfect world where Thragtar start coming down, gaining 10 life, blinking with Restoration Angel, but it seems pretty hard to get there.
Yeah. And that's why I think maybe if Elliott really thinks about it, maybe he just won't bother with the Faith Menders. Obviously, it's very good if you go turn 4 Faith Mender, turn 5 Thragtusk. But I think if you go turn 5 Thragtusk, it doesn't really matter what the play is in this matchup. Because again, if Brad gets to play where he's just getting a Sorin in play and just making emblems, it's really not going to matter. He's going to be trying to swing over. So I like bringing in Tragic Slip as a way to deal with Boros Reckoner and potentially a way to deal with Falcon Wrath Aristocrat. I like bringing in the Abrupt Decays, obviously. Elliott has 2 copies of Deathrite Shaman, which he probably doesn't need anymore. 2 copies of Crater of Behemoth, which I think might be a little greedy. Probably just is going to try to win with the Thragtusk and Angel Serenity. So not sure you need the Behemoth, not sure you need the Deathrite Shaman. I like bringing in the Abrupt Decay and Tragic Slip. Not sure I might bring in maybe just 1 copy of Divine Reckoning. But beyond, and for the Sever the Bloodline, because Sever the Bloodline is not very good in this matchup because there's so many sack effects.
Yeah. You're never going to get what you want to get with it.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I probably roared in Tragic Slip, Abrupt Decay, and Divine Reckoning for Crater of Behemoth, Deathrite Shaman, and 1 Sever the Bloodline.
Well, we'll see if Elliott is going to agree with you, as we do see both players underway. Quick result from our other match that was going to be on camera because we thought it was going to take a little while. So that's why that was our backup match. But we see Pat Cox beating Chris Boozer. Pat Cox playing Jund, Chris Boozer playing Blue White Red Flash. Cox wins 2-0 very, very quickly.
And I think we kind of expected Jund to win. I think Jund has the advantage in that matchup. And Pat is obviously a very adept Jund player, plays Jund in pretty much every format.
Yeah, tries to play Jund every time that he can. As we do see Brad is going to play an Isolated Chapel into a Skirsack High Priest. We're going to see a Grizzly Salvage here on Brad's end step. Woodland Cemetery, Overgrown Tomb, Rock's Faith Mender, Isolated Chapel ×2. So Faith Mender is in.
Looks like he did bring in the Faith Mender. We'll see how well it does this matchup. Elliott does have an Abrupt Decay to do with the High Priest if he needs it. Doesn't need to pull the trigger right away, though. It's not really doing much.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of the poorer Grizzly Salvages. As you see, it does turn over a lot of lands, and the question you have to ask yourself when you see that Grizzly Salvage turn over four lands is, you know, Elliott maybe only have 2 lands in his hand, has to take a land here, but he's going to take Faith Mender, so it looks like he's doing okay on lands.
Yeah, I mean, it's effectively a 1-for-1. The only good thing is, though, he gets rid of 4 lands that were on top of his deck, so not the worst thing. Not losing card advantage, but again, if you're land light, it's unfortunate. But I think he does at least have a 3rd land, and it looks like he does have another couple of other copies of Grizzly Savage, so he can keep digging.
You see Godless Shrine here in the front. He's going to play that tapped. He's going to pass the turn back, probably going to Grizzly Salvage on Brad's end step here. As Brad's going to start here by attacking with the Skirsack High Priest. We'll see what his follow-up is. You do see a Plains in his hand. You do see another High Priest, and we'll see if he has maybe a Reckoner or Lingering Souls this turn. That he can use all of his mana for the turn. Okay, we're going to see an Isolated Chapel, and it looks like we're going to see another High Priest, and there's a Tragic Slip over there, and now we're going to see a Doomed Traveler. So kind of a weak start.
Weak start, but again, he has the potential of starting to crank out 5/5s.
Yeah.
Which isn't something that Elliott's deck can necessarily deal with very easily, but we'll see how this plays out. I think he really wants to be Grizzly Savaging here, not Abrupt Decaying, but
so it's going to be a Grizzly Salvage. Our 5 cards here are Lingering Souls, Angel Serenity, Thragtusk, Overgrown Tomb, and Tragic. So it was a black card.
Unburial Rites obviously would have been amazing there, but unfortunately he doesn't hit there. Still going to be pretty good. Does he go for the land here? Does he need that land? It looks like he might need that land.
Yeah, it feels like it. You take a look at his hand. You see an Abrupt Decay. You see an Angel of Serenity, that Faith Mender, another Grizzly Salvage, and Abrupt Decay. So he does not have a land in his hand.
Yeah, so
and
he's
going to take it. Yeah.
And again, much better than the last one though, because he does flip over 2 fatties, which if he draws an Umbrella Rights, he'll be able to reanimate, as well as a Lingering Soul. So he does get a little more card advantage there.
And Temple Garden is the draw here for Elliott. So lands are starting to be less of a problem here, as you do see an Overgrown Tomb and a Temple Garden in his hand. We'll see if he wants to pull the trigger on the Faith Mender this turn, maybe hold up another Grizzly Salvage here, maybe hold steady with Abrupt Decay.
Yeah, one card that, yeah, he has the Faith Mender. One card that I've been seeing a couple of people play over Faith Mender is Tristani, which I really like, because it's similar to Faith Mender, but Tristani actually has a pretty good second ability, whereas you can pop it, especially if you have the Lingering Souls. So, but it looks like he chooses to flashback Lingering Souls, play a land, untap, so he has access to Abrupt Decay if he needs it.
So we are going to see Brad on tap draw. He draws a Cartel Aristocrat.
So that's pretty good. It's going to allow him to make a 5/5 with the morbid ability of High Priest. And even though Elliott has an Abrupt Decay, he's not going to really have an opportunity to do anything with it.
So now we're going to see Brad start this turn by playing a land into a Cartel Aristocrat, representing again the ability to make a 5/5 at any moment here with those Skirt Stack High Priest. Other card in Brad's hand of note is a Tragic Slip. So the Faith Mender, that is in Elliott's hand, won't have much effect. Even if Resolved Angel of Serenity, it will certainly have some effect, but Brad will be able to mitigate that and take care of it with Tragic Slip. As we see, Elliott is going to certainly take a moment here to consider his options, as he does again have that Grizzly Salvage, does have that Abrupt Decay, but with a sacrifice effect on the stack and Skirt Stack High Priest out there, you certainly have to take a moment. Consider your options.
Yeah, I think you have to let it resolve. There's nothing. Abrupt Decay really doesn't do anything here.
Yeah.
If Brad wants to make a 5/5, he's gonna be able to make a 5/5. I think you have to cast Grizzly Salvage and try to hit it in Burial Rights.
Yeah.
Because even though he has an answer for the Angel Serenity, you'll still be able to generate some card advantage because you can target one of your Thragtusk, you can target an Angel token if he happens to make one.
As we are going to see that Grizzly Salvage, it's going to turn over a Thragtusk, an Avacyn's Pilgrim, 2 Woodland Cemeteries, and an Overgrown Tomb. So unable to find Unburial Rights now is Wolchesky.
But he gets a Thragtusk, so not the worst thing in the world. I actually... So I think he just took one, which is fine here. Probably going to take the Thragtusk. And doesn't hit Burial Rights. Still has the ability to draw in Burial Rights, though, so...
Do get to draw a card every turn, as he's going to take a Thragtusk, he's going to take a draw step, and it is Avacyn's Pilgrim.
Yeah, that's kind of why I would have blocked last turn, just because if you do draw an Burial Rights, Brad probably activates if you block the Doom Traveler, they trade, he gets a token, but Brad probably activates the High Priest that turn in order to generate 5/5. So if you do draw an Burial Rights, the Angel Serenity will be able to get that token.
Sure. Okay. Well, and now you see Elliott really thinking about his options yet again. It's kind of funny when you see this Aristocrat stack in action. Right now he has a Doom Traveler in play, a Cartel Aristocrat, and 2 Skirt Stack High Priests. Not the most threatening of boards, it would seem, on the surface. But you dive deeper into this scenario and you realize that 5/5s are going to start churning out here at a very fast rate because of Doom Traveler sacrificing, getting a Spirit, as you're going to see a Faith Mender get cast here, and on the ready as well for Brad is a Tragic Slip at any moment.
Yeah.
To ruin combat or just to ruin something. And now you're going to see, he's going to sacrifice that Doom Traveler. He's going to get a Spirit token.
Faith Mender's probably going to be leaving too because Brad knows that there's a Thragtusk coming.
Yeah.
And he can't afford Elliott to just gain 10 life.
So
I'd be surprised if he didn't. Oh, so he chooses not to use it this turn.
And maybe we'll see it used on this turn when there is the attack, because there's probably going to be some trading in combat somewhere here, right? Maybe the chump block of a demon token. I mean, heck, he can even just cast that Tragic Slip in response to the Thragtusk with it on the stack, force that to be Elliott's turn. Elliott feels like he's going to gain 10 life. It's just going to be 5, and that 5/3 really doesn't have much of an impact.
Does he? It looks like he might have a Blood Artist, or no?
I think that's another Skirt Stack High Priest.
Okay. So the 5/5 and the Spirit token are coming over now.
So basically daring Elliott to block.
Yep.
If you block, I'm pumping out another 5/5.
And again, I still like blocking here. I would probably just double block, to be honest.
Double block the 1/1?
No, just 2 blocks.
Okay.
Block, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, it looks like that's what's happening here. Okay, you're going to make a 5/5. I still have Unburial Rights as an out here. There's another High Priest.
Another High Priest here. we're going to see another 5/5 put into play.
And see, that's the strange thing, because you imagine Brad wants to Tragic Slip, because he doesn't really want Elliott to gain 10 life. So why not just Tragic Slip at the end of the turn so you can attack with the Aristocrat as well? But...
And so it looks like he's going to use for the tapping
one. He's making two demons this turn. It looks like. Is he gonna be able to? So he activates the one that's summoning. He activates one of the ones that isn't summoning sick, tapping the Cartel Aristocrat and the Heart Priest that he just cast.
Yeah, and the demon's already in play because he doesn't have a third demon. So
okay, he can't make anything else.
And so he's just going to pass the turn back here. Elliott draws a card. Again, we do know about that Thragtusk in his hand. You see the Abrupt Decay as well. Looks like an Avacyn's Pilgrim. I'm not sure what he drew for the turn, however, but he is just still a little ways away from Angel of Serenity land as he is 2 lands short and does not have an Unburial Rights right now.
And here's the awkward situation where if he just casts Thragtusk, does Brad respond by sacking a High Priest and dealing with the Faith Mender, or does he just not care that he's gaining 10 life?
I think, honestly, that he is willing to sacrifice a High Priest, take care of that Rock's Faith Mender, let Elliott gain 5 life, go up to 21. He has 2 demons in the air. It's going to put Elliott down to 11, and then again, he's still in the driver's seat because Elliott's so far away from Angel of Serenity.
But the thing is, Elliott's really not that far away from Angel of Serenity. He has 2 copies of Avacyn Pilgrim. He has 2 copies of Avacyn Pilgrim in his hand. You should probably attack first. You probably attack with Faith Mender first. So yeah, it looks like he's just trying to. He has a Lingering Souls as well.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to gum things up right now.
Yeah.
While like kind of secretly putting those Avacyn Pilgrims into play, saying, "Yeah, these are here. They're ready to block or whatever. Don't Tragic Slip this, you know."
But that's why I like attacking with Faith Mender first, because you don't really give away your strategy.
Sure.
Faith Mender probably doesn't have a good block next turn. Brad's probably just attacking for 10 in the air, so you might as well try to get into life now when you can.
Let's see Brad take a draw step. It is a Blood Crypt to go along with a Plains and a Tragic Slip. So mana flooding a little bit here. I mean, his advantage, his board presence is very good. But, you know, if he doesn't get this game over with quickly and Lingering Souls is going to delay that, then Angel of Serenity will finally come to town.
Yeah, so the thing is, does Brad Tragic Slip and Avacyn Pilgrim and hope that Elliott doesn't draw a land? Because Angel Serenity, granted, he has a Tragic Slip which can kill an Angel Serenity, but if it's dealing with those tokens, it doesn't matter. Those tokens are gone. They're not coming back anyway. So Angel Serenity probably just targets 2 tokens and a Thragtusk.
Sure.
You know?
To get back in the graveyard.
Yeah.
Okay. You see Brad trying to figure out what he wants to do this turn. What do I want to attack with? How do I want to go about doing it? Because again, you know, you'll see those. You're going to see those demons get in. We might see Cartel Aristocrat get in. We don't know. Unlikely because of the Faith Mender, but you never know what Brad's plan's going to be. You see all those High Priests as well. So he's going to be churning out another demon this turn. That's going to happen. I think. I can't imagine Elliott taking 10 here, just because, you know, if he does, then Blood Art is just going to be lethal afterward because all the sacrifice creatures. So another 5/5 is likely going to come to play. The question is he going to attack with both the 5/5s in the air? Is he going to hang back? What's exactly is Nelson's plan right now?
And I really like Elliott's line where he's just trying to cast an Angel Serenity here. Puts Brad in a really awkward position, even though his start was very good. Elliott's had a reasonable life, 16 life here. He still has the Faith Mender in play. It's not doing much right now.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't think it'd be doing that much in this matchup, but again, if Elliott's able to cast Angel Serenity, it's going to put him in a pretty good position.
Something else to keep in mind too, Brad knew about that Thragtusk from a Grizzly Salvage, and he did not cast it. So if you're Brad right now, you're thinking, okay, he's not casting that, and he played 2 Pilgrims. He's trying to get the Angel Serenity. That's what's going on here.
Brad probably realizes that, so just attacks with 1 demon here. If I were Elliott, I'd probably just take this.
I'm a little surprised to only see 1 come across instead of 2.
Elliott might be afraid of Boros Reckoner Blasphemous Act.
Okay.
So maybe he just wants to stay above 13, so maybe he chump blocks here.
And that is certainly within this deck's range. We've seen that before. Sandbagging that Reckoner into Blasphemous Act to just get the game over with immediately.
So that's what Elliott does, stays above 13 life to ensure that Boros Reckoner plus Blasphemous Act doesn't kill you.
So by making that attack, As you see Brad moving the creatures out of the way. By making that attack, he's going to be able to turn out 2 demons now, right? Because you activate the High Priest, you tap, let's say, the Cartel Aristocrat and another High Priest. That puts a demon in play. And then he taps the new demon and the old demon that's untapped to put another demon into play.
Yeah, that's why I initially thought that Elliott should probably just take it and risk the Reckoner Blasphemous combo, just because if Brad is able to get 2 demons into play here, Angel Serenity still really good, but it's gonna put him under a lot more pressure, especially if Brad does have a Tragic Slip, which, you know, again, Elliott doesn't know he has, but still. But either way, I still think as long as Elliott's able to cast Angel Serenity this next turn, I still think he's in reasonable shape.
So here's the big question: does Brad pull the trigger on the Tragic Slip? He does not.
He does not. Yeah, and I think that's fine. You can't assume that Elliott's just going to blank on a land or an Imperial Rights.
Sure.
You know?
So we do see Elliott does draw a Temple Garden. So if he would have slipped,
it wouldn't have
done
mattered
very much. Yeah.
So Elliott's still in a reasonable position here. He's at 16 life. He can cast an Angel Serenity, which will deal with 3 demons. He also has a Lingering Soul still in his graveyard, so he'll be able to flash that back next turn. I really hope he attacks with a Faith Mender, though.
I guess the big thing here, too, Osip, is, you know, let's say that he does, you know, slam down that Angel Serenity, okay? That's what's going to happen this turn. Maybe he does target 3 demons. I'm not sure what he's going to target. Let's say he cleans up 3 demons. 3 demons gone. Brad sacrifices one of those to a Cartel Aristocrat. Tragic Slip the Angel. That's out of the way. I've got a demon. I can keep churning out more. We're basically in the same situation we were in before.
Yeah, but the thing is, at least he slows things down a little and he deals with the Tragic Slip, you know? Because the thing is, he's dealing with 4 Angels right now, so clearly he has to cast Angel Serenity.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to happen.
So he sacks Angel Serenity. Brad won't be able to make any demons this turn. So no matter what, Elliott's going to be able to kill 3 demons this turn. He still has 1 angel. He still has 1 spirit token back to block. So if Elliott just casts Angel Serenity, so it looks like he's going for his own Angel Serenity.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. I think the fact that he's at 16 life and he still has a spirit token back, that's a reasonable play there.
So now you see some targeting here. Angel Serenity effect is going to be on the stack, and Brad says, no, that effect is currently on the stack. That targeting effect has not resolved yet. And now you're going to see sacrifice. You're going to see him take care of that Angel Serenity. So that Angel Serenity is actually going to get removed from the game with the effect on the stack. So it was all about timing with the Tragic Slip and how he wanted to go about using it. As he was going to take out 2 demons and Angel Serenity from his graveyard. Now he has kind of I won't say 1 less angel, because now he has an angel removed from the game, but then 1 angel in the graveyard.
Yeah, and that's why I thought it would be better for Elliott to just go after all those tokens, because again, you have a Faith Mender in play and you still have plenty of outs. You just want to slow Brad down a little bit. Yeah. If you can deal with all those angels, you can chump block if you can deal with those demons, you have a way to chump block 1 demon next turn, so you can still stay above 13 if that's what you're afraid of. Eventually, Brad's going to have to start sacking High Priests.
As we do see, Elliott does finally come across with that Faith Mender. He's going to gain a little bit of life. And Brad untaps very quickly. He's going to draw a card. We'll see how the attacks are going to go this turn. Might be the same attack as last turn, which was just with 1, so he can crank out 2 more demons.
I think now that Elliott knows what's happening, he just can't chump block here. He has to go to 13.
So you see his hand of Abrupt Decay and Thragtusk right now, still desperately looking for one of those Burial Rites in his deck.
I still don't think it's that bad shape for Elliott. He does have an Abrupt Decay. As long as he just takes 5 here and goes to 13, Brad will be forced to sacrifice a creature if he does want to make a demon. So he won't be able to make 2 demons this turn.
And so Brad does just pass the turn back. No play here. So Elliott's going to untap. He's going to draw. He finds Craterhoof Behemoth.
This certainly makes things interesting.
Okay. We're going to change some things here.
I still want the Thragtusk coming into play, though.
You want that 10 life?
I want that 10
little bit of a safety net.
Yeah.
See, now that's just really interesting because, 1, it's debatable if you're supposed to leave Craterhoof Behemoth in this matchup. I actually don't know. I would actually just ask Brad that question.
Yeah.
If you're supposed to leave Behemoth in this matchup. Brad might be on the school of thought of, yeah, you obviously board out Craterhoof Behemoth, why would you ever leave it in?
Yeah.
And then Elliott might be in the school of thought, well, maybe Brad thinks I'm going to board it out, which means I'm going to leave it in and catch him by surprise with it, which he can definitely do this game.
Yeah. So it looks like he's going to play the Thragtusk, leaving Abrupt Decay mana up. Does Brad have a response? So no. Looks like Elliott will gain 10 life this turn.
So he's going to go up to 23.
Elliott doesn't really have a good attack here, so probably just passes the turn, leaving Abrupt Decay mana up, maybe dealing with the token.
He's going to flash
Oh,
back
he's gonna
Lingering
flash back
Souls. Yeah,
Lingering Souls. So what makes the Behemoth even better next time?
So what's kind of nice here as you watch Elliott play this game is, you know, he's been under you know, some significant pressure from a different angle of attack with the High Priest, and he's playing at this like meticulous pace where he is like, now that he has the Behemoth in his hand, he's trying to make it so he doesn't make it obvious he has the demon. I feel like that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to really mask it. As you see, Brad does have a Blasphemous Act in his hand.
Wow. Not that great in this situation right now.
Yeah.
But again, makes Boros Reckoner pretty impressive. Although, so what is Elliott with the Behemoth? It really doesn't want to block here.
Yeah, I feel like if we're going to see an attack from Brad, you're going to see Elliott think for a while about blocking. Maybe do some combat math, do a bunch of different things, and then not block, because you're going to see 2 demons come across here for Nelson.
Well, the really interesting thing here is the Behemoth is going to make the Rock's Faith Mender look much better than
I'd certainly forgotten that.
Yeah.
That's
so
definitely true.
He could gain 18 life, I believe, potentially there with the 1 Faith Mender. So I would be surprised if he doesn't just take the 10 here. Maybe he's afraid. Maybe he still just wants to block 1 to stay above 13.
Yeah, because 13 is the sweet spot for this deck, because that's the Reckoner Blasphemous Act combo.
I actually don't mind blocking 1 because you stay above 13. Plus, you probably force Brad to tap on his turn.
Sure.
To make 5s. Oh wow,
Burial
Rites.
I mean, I think Kratos Behemoth is just lethal now.
I think if he does the math, it is probably lethal.
I mean, these things are gigantic. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's +8/+8's all your guys. I mean, those Lingering Soul tokens are 9/9 tramplers.
Either way, you're gaining a lot of life off the Faith Mender.
You're gaining. It's going to be +1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So Faith Mender is going to become a 9. So you're going to gain 18 off of Faith Mender. I think. I'm pretty sure it's just Behemoth.
Well, you're doing 27 in the air with just the Spirit tokens alone.
Yeah.
I think you have to go Behemoth.
Yeah.
You can't risk Boros Reckoner Blasphemous Act.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing.
Can't risk it
when you're 13,
Yeah.
especially. I mean, yes, he can go to 15. Maybe he has Restoration Angel. You know, what have you. Certainly things can change, but you don't want to play any more draw steps.
No.
I feel like. I think you want to shorten the game.
you want this game to be over right now.
And it looks like he's coming to the same conclusion. He's tapping 8 mana, and Brad is going to be on the receiving end of something that he did to a whole lot of people over the past couple of months here in Crater of Behemoth, resolving this trigger and getting in for oodles and oodles of damage.
As Brad Nelson said plenty of times, hoof, there it is.
And we're going to see Brad, and there it is. So we're going to go into a game 3 here.
We're going into a game 3 here. So a lot of the strategies that I thought Elliott would employ after board seemed very different, but it ended up working out for him. Faith Mender wasn't that impressive until you got to a point where it just didn't matter.
Yeah.
Game really all comes down to Angel Serenity buying him enough time to really get things going.
Yeah.
But I think the more times that Elliott has to play this game, I think the more he's going to kind of understand how this matchup plays, and I think the more it kind of favors Elliott, because there were some mistakes he made there just because he didn't quite understand all the intricacies of Brad's deck and what Brad was capable of. I think had he known about Tragic Slip, he probably doesn't target his own Angel Serenity. He probably just gets rid of all those demons.
Yep.
So I think the more this is sort of the way that Jake won last week. It's just people don't know how to play against the Aristocrats Act 2 yet.
Yeah. They're learning on the fly.
They're learning. It's just such a complicated deck. There's so many tricky interactions with it that you don't really know how to play against this deck yet. And I think it's going to take time for people to sort of adapt to it, because you don't even see it on Moto that much.
No,
you know,
not yet. I mean, we're going to
not
soon.
yet. We are going to soon. Yes, but I think it's a lot of the ways you get your wins is because people just don't know what to do against you yet. So I think Elliott's definitely learning, and it'd be interesting to see whether or not things work out for him in Game 3, because his deck is definitely better suited than some of the Reanimator lists we've seen in the past, with having access to 4 copies of Abrupt Decay and 2 copies of Tragic Slip and a Divine Reckoning, which would have been amazing in that game.
One thing to look at here in Elliott's list, it does have those 2 Crater Behemoths, a card that I think we can both agree I thought was going to come out here. Mm-hmm. And you see that the ability to steal a win with that card, that's part of the reason that it is in this deck. And I think that, I myself personally, I really like the way that Elliott played that game. And the reason I like it, maybe the sideboarding is correct, incorrect. You can argue either way. I like how he just took his time and analyzed the board every turn. No very hasty decisions with what he was trying to do.
Didn't look like he was panicking.
No, very meticulous in what he was doing. I mean, as he's taking a look over the deck list here, it's something that he did already once, and I like that he's taking so much time to figure things out. I mean, certainly not in a rush.
Yeah.
And then I also like, the other thing I really liked is he draws Crater of Behemoth, and I think he did like a pretty decent job of masking it. You know, he flashbacks Lingering Souls, does some things, what have you. And I think that, you could, if you're on Brad's side, you probably think that Behemoth's not really there. And, he doesn't really make a big deal out of it. He just flashback Lingering Souls, takes a little while, does something else, passes the turn back, Abrupt Decays, whatever. And then it's like, oh, okay, Brad just does his attack, untap draw. It's just like, all right, coast is clear. Behemoth finished the game off. I don't know. I just feel like I really like just everything about his body language. How he's taking his time, no rush. I mean, he's playing against a very, very, very good Magic player, and he seems very unfazed.
Yeah, he didn't give away anything really. Yeah. And again, maybe he kept in one Behemoth as sort of an out. We don't. Maybe he just shaved little numbers there. We know he brought in the Faith Mender. I'd imagine he brought in the third and fourth Abrupt Decay. Yep. And Tragic Slip's the other card that we kind of thought he would want to bring in because it's a way to deal with Aristocrat, it's a way to deal with Blood Artist. I'm not sure. Again, I still think Deathrite Shaman is not very good in this matchup. Don't think the Sever the Bloodline is very good in this matchup. Maybe he cut the Obsidian and the Lotless Troll. Maybe they're a little too random. Maybe he doesn't really want those.
I could see that.
And maybe he shaved one of the Behemoth. Maybe he only brought in one Faith Mender. Maybe he didn't bother with the Divine Reckoning.
Maybe, I mean, as we were watching that game, he Grizzly salvaged 3 times and he wasn't able to hit an Unburial Rites. Maybe he slided down on a couple of those because he does know. Yeah, he knows Brad that has 3 Tormod scripts. And I would be a little surprised if Brad didn't sideboard in those, as that's basically what that card's for, is this matchup.
Yeah, I could definitely see shaving some of those Unburial Rites. Interesting to see what happens here in game 3 because both players look like they went to their sideboards.
Yeah, both players. Yeah, they look like they went back to the well and changing things because they are on opposites now of the play-draw area of the game.
And it looked like Brad did keep in the Blossom Sack, so we saw it in that game. It doesn't look like he went for the. He went for the token plan.
Quick update for you guys as you guys do see those sideboards on the screen and both players shuffling up for what will certainly be an entertaining Game 3. Our other 2 matches here, Spencer Stout playing Experiment Jund against Corey McDuffie playing Junk Rights. They are in Game 3. Our 4-5, Graham Lansford playing Jund versus Jake Humphreys playing Esper Control. They are in Game 3 as well. So we're about the last people outside of these 6 players. We're about the last people here in this convention center, battling it out.
It's getting pretty quiet.
Luckily, we are far away from the players this weekend and behind the curtain, so no need for mood lighting.
Yeah, it's not like other open series where we're right next door and have to. It's Magic After Dark and whispered tones. You're not going to hear my deep, manly, low voice this time.
Well, if I ask nice, can we?
No.
Okay. Not so lucky.
So both players still shuffling up. Yeah, and again, I was surprised to see Blossom Sack. Maybe it's just too good. Maybe it's just
I think it's
4
too good.
Decay.
Yeah, I think it's too good. With Reckoner plus Blood Artist and how you can set it up the way that you want to, you have control of that. I think it's too good to sideboard out. I mean, even that game at the end, right? Like, if he had Blossom Sack, if he draws Reckoner, it's just over.
Yeah. And it still works well with Aristocrat. You can clear the way. You can deal with a lot of the if Elliott gets one of those draws where it's a very heavy mana, like Arbor Elf, Avacyn Pilgrim. Sometimes you can just wreck him really early. Yeah. I guess you gotta keep him in. The token plan probably just not good enough.
And now with how Brad maybe on the forefront of his mind is how he lost that game to Behemoth and all those dudes. Forget this. I'm leaving Blast for a second. I'm just gonna blow up some crap now.
Yeah.
With how I just lost that game and Elliott's proof that he's willing to leave Behemoth in where maybe Brad believes that he should or shouldn't. I mean, that would be on the forefront of my mind of, okay, yeah, I'm leaving Blasphemous Act in, if this is his plan.
Yeah, it looks like Brad kept his 7. Elliott is thinking. It looks like we both have keep.
All right, so we're going to start off with the Sacred Foundry. We're going to pass the turn back as we do begin game number 3 here of our quarterfinals. Forest and Avacyn's Pilgrim here for Wolchesky. We'll see what Nelson has. Maybe he does have a 2-drop. It looks like he does, and it is a Skrulls High Priest.
Ooh, an Angel Serenity drawn by Elliott. Looks like Elliott has both Angel Serenity and Craterhoof Behemoth in his hand. So, little. Oh wow! And this is one of those situations where we said Brad might be able to just get a pretty valuable Blasphemous Act.
And we're going to see a Blood Artist and SCGATL High Priest here. Doesn't attack because he doesn't want to give Elliott the opportunity to double block and, you know, be able to trade with the High Priest. Trading Avacyn's Pilgrim for that SCGATL High Priest has a lot more value over the course of the game. As we do have an update for you guys very quickly before we do come back to this. Corey McDuffie with Junk Rights does defeat Spencer Stout 2-1. So Corey McDuffie playing Junk Rights will move on to play the winner of Humphreys and Lansford. As we do see a turn 3 Thragtusk here from Wolchesky.
It looks like Elliott does have a copy of an Abrupt Decay in his hand, but currently no black mana to actually cast it. Brad just plays a Godless Shrine and passes. It looks like he has a Blood Crypt in his hand, a Blasphemous Act, and another card that is a mystery to us.
So you do see again that Abrupt Decay, as you mentioned. Thragtusk is going to come across into the red zone. Brad's going to move down to 15.
And Elliott does draw a Woodland Cemetery, so he's able to cast Abrupt Decay. Pretty big draw there.
Yep.
Really needs to deal with either a Blood Artist or a High Priest.
Seems like lands are important right now as well, as we do see Brad draw a card there. Couldn't quite make out what it was. Okay, it is a Clifftop Retreat that he does have in his hand.
Yeah, Elliott's fine with this game plan. He wants to... At this point, if he just keeps drawing lands, it's completely fine because he has the Angel Serenity and he has the Creator of Behemoth, so it doesn't really matter.
Now you do see the Mookow in Boros Reckoner. It's here.
And this is sort of why I don't like the Blasphemous Act plan, because if Brad does try to go for it, he just gets Abrupt Decayed in response, and then suddenly you wiped off your board and Elliott's left with a Beast token from a Thragtusk.
Sure.
So not exactly ideal, but we'll see how this plays out. Maybe Elliott gets a little. Obviously, it's not the worst thing with Blood Artist, but still not exactly what Brad wants to be doing. Great use, of your turn or your resources. Yeah, you don't want to kill 2 Avacyn Pilgrims and a Thragtusk and wipe away your board just deal 6 damage. It's not really, especially when your opponent's at 25.
Yeah, and the scary thing here as well is, you know, for Brad, let's say he doesn't cast that Blasphemous Act. I mean, Elliott has 6 mana. He's 1 away from Angel Serenity.
Yeah, and he can't cast it this turn. He just can't. He doesn't. There's only 6 creatures in play. He would require 3 mana.
Yep.
So he can't cast it this turn. If Elliott does get to a 7th mana,
so we're going to see a Abrupt Decay here.
So
take care of the High Priest.
Interesting.
Okay.
That would suggest that he does have a 7th mana in his hand.
He has a forest in his hand. And he has plenty of white mana through the Pilgrims, the Sun Petal Grove, and the Temple Garden. He's going to draw a card. It is a Tragic Slip.
Yeah, I don't like that play at all. I wouldn't want to cast the Angel Serenity now, because what's the best case scenario? You cast Angel Serenity dealing with a Boros Reckoner, and a Blood Artist, and then Brad just casts the Blasphemous Act.
All right, well, here's Angel Serenity. Brad says thumbs up. You got it. Here are these.
All right.
And now here comes Thragtusk. Yeah, the Blasphemous, or excuse me, the Abrupt Decay is a little bit strange, as Brad's going to draw a card here. He draws a Tragic Slip, I believe. No, it's a SCGATL High Priest. I apologize. You see him, he's going to tap all this mana. You're going to see him play Blasphemous Act. He's going to take care of everything.
Like, just why do you care? Why do you care about the High Priest there?
Yeah, like post Angel.
Yeah, like Angel's so good for you, and you're under no pressure whatsoever. It's not like Brad even has a sack outlet to get the High Priest going. Why do you care? You know what the combo is.
Sure.
Blasphemous Act is not instant speed.
Sure.
You know, you have 5 mana in play. You're not that far off from casting it just normally. So you don't. Even if he's able to cast Blasphemous Act with the Reckoner in play, you Abrupt Decay in response. You lose your Pilgrims, but you have 5 mana. You're 2 mana away from just hard casting the Blasphemous Act normally. So don't quite understand that play.
As we do see the Beast token come across here. Another thing to keep in mind with that Blasphemous Act as well, also, is that, you know, Elliott had 7 mana to hardcast that Angel. Now he's back to 5.
Yeah.
And that Behemoth that's in his hand, that Crater Hoof, is very far away now. As you're going to see Brad tap 3 mana here and probably start off with a Boros Reckoner, depending on what he drew. As he does have 5 cards in his hand. Now, one thing also to keep in mind very quickly is that he is at 8.
And
it's just a deck that gains life very well.
And again, he has a 2nd copy of Blasphemous Act, which makes the Abrupt Decay so much worse. It makes the Abrupt Decay play so much worse. You have to know. Okay, Boros Reckoner, Blasphemous Act. That's the backdoor combo of this deck.
Yep.
Why would you not just hold on to that Abrupt Decay until you absolutely have to cast it?
Yeah, last resort. As we are going to see Brad cast Lingering Souls here. He's going to follow this up with maybe the Flashback. As he's going to tap 3 mana here, so maybe he's going to go with the Reckoner. What is his plan this turn? Now he's going to untap his lands. You see the High Priestess, and he's going to play that, and now he's going to pass the turn back. And you saw how Brad had tapped his mana, leaving the Sacred Foundry untapped, and then he tapped the Sacred Foundry maybe to say, okay, maybe I'm going to cast this Reckoner. Untaps all 3, then he taps the non-Sacred Foundry one, leaves the Godless Shrine untapped, because there's a Tragic Slip in his hand.
Yeah, but I don't think he was being that tricky.
I don't think he was being that tricky. I think that maybe the 2 lands that he reached for were the wrong ones.
Yeah,
that's what I think may have happened.
Well, I think he originally considered casting the Boros Reckoner, but then he decided against it because he was able. He might, if Elliott does have a second copy of Abrupt Decay, he can bait him with High Priest because he did it before.
Sure.
If Elliott was willing to Abrupt Decay a High Priest the turn before, he'll do it again.
Yeah, he's proven that he's willing to do it again.
And with a second copy of Blasphemous Act in his hand, he really wants that combo. So again, Boros Reckoner, Blood Artist, Blasphemous Act, that could effectively kill Elliott in a couple of turns.
So now we're going to see Brad go on the offensive. Here come Spirit Tokens. Let's see what he's going to follow his turn up with here, as he can flashback Lingering Souls. He does have that Reckoner. He does want to set up the Blasphemous Act moving forward. And you see another card in his hand. I believe it's double Blasphemous Act, Boros Reckoner. And I think I see a Blood Artist over there as well. So yeah, maybe no Tragic Slip for Brad. May have misread his hand.
So I like flashing back the Lingering Souls. I don't think he needs to actually cast anything else though.
No, 5 life.
I just like flashing back Lingering Souls. He can play the Reckoner if he wants, but
I would be surprised if he doesn't play Reckoner. Honestly, I think it's a very low risk play.
I like flashing back Lingering Souls and playing Blood Artist. I don't like revealing that you have a Reckoner just yet.
Well, I mean, he knows it. He knows about the Reckoner because Angel Serenity. He knows it's there. The Angel Serenity gave it back.
That's true, yeah.
So, I mean, there's no misinformation or you're not concealing anything. It's just, you know, if you're Elliott, you're wondering, when is he going to finally cast this thing?
Yeah. So do we have an 8th land for the Behemoth?
So he's got 6 in play. Here's your 7th land. That's for the Woodland Cemetery.
Oh, so, yeah, so only 7 mana. I think he has a Tragic Slip in his hand. Was the other card.
You see a Craterhoof in his hand right now as well that Elliott's trying to work his way to and steal a game with yet again. So let's see what kind of play Elliott wants to make this turn. Does he want to attack? Does he maybe want to try to induce a Tragic Slip? But he's just going to pass the turn back.
So Blood Artist Blasphemous Act could be lethal here.
That's 13. He's going to come in the sky. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, hold on a minute here.
So if he attacks with 4 in the air, dropping Elliott to 18, plays the Blood Artist and Blasphemous Act, there'd be 2, 4, 6, 7 creatures in play. So you go to 11, and Blasphemous Act Reckoner does the other 13.
Okay, and I mean, we can even see. I mean, there's no.
Elliott has a Tragic Slip. Elliott does have a Tragic Slip.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason we can't just see a Boros Reckoner come into combat too here, right?
No, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that can certainly can turn sideways.
Although the problem is that would turn off the Reckoner play because he can just Tragic Slip.
Okay.
So.
All right, so here's the Blood Artist pre-combat.
I don't think he wants to I don't think he wants to attack with the Reckoner. He just wants to attack with the tokens.
Okay.
Oh wow.
He disagrees.
Because now Elliott can just chump block the Reckoner.
Okay.
And activate his Tragic Slip.
The Morbid on the Tragic Slip, sure.
Yeah, if he's really afraid of Blasphemous Act, which we've seen him play conservatively before.
Yeah, I mean, here's one thing also. Like, let's say that he does chump block the Reckoner with the Beast token. Brad first strikes, whatever. We pass through combat. Elliott's Tragic Slip is on. I mean, Brad doesn't have to pull the trigger on the act.
No, but Elliott probably still Tragic Slips there.
Okay, I mean, I think Brad's okay with that. He's going to gain life from. He's going to gain life from the beast dying. He's going to gain life from whatever the Tragic Slip kills, and he still has 4 Spirit tokens.
Oh no, it's definitely not bad for Brad.
Sure.
But the thing is, Brad has to consider whether or not. I mean, Elliott has to consider whether or not he's going to lose this game on this turn. Like, does Brad have another Blasphemous Act?
So he takes all of the damage.
And so
you can see that he wants to pull the trigger.
Well, I think it's reasonable to do that because he lost to Behemoth last game, so he has to try it.
So now you're going to see Blasphemous Act here. It's going to cost 2 mana, locks in the cost.
So you can Tragic Slip the Blood Artist, which I believe he has to do.
So he's going to.
So he'll go to 14, then he'll take 13.
Yep. So he's going to go to 14. Brad's going to go up to 6.
Behemoth, a land Behemoth is still lethal.
No. Is it? Oh yeah, +1 from itself.
Yeah.
+1 from itself. I apologize.
But he would have to draw a non-shock land to cast it, I believe.
So Brad plays that and he says go. All right. Elliott draws a card. What did we find? That's a slow roll.
What a slow roll.
Who wants to know what that card is? Come on, Elliott.
What do we have here? What do you got in that bag?
Thragtusk. Oh!
Wow! A Thragtusk bringing up to 6. So pretty
now.
big rip there.
Brad
Obviously,
draws.
He has a land, the Blasphemous Act, I believe.
What a draw. Wow.
Wow. So could have been a land, could have been worse.
So Thragtusk here. Again, Brad's
Blood
at
Crypt,
6.
he passes the turn back. Elliott's going to untap. He's going to draw it. Even if it's Ravnik land now, he can play it.
It looks like a Woodland Cemetery.
It's a Woodland Cemetery.
Here comes. Oof, there it is. How ironic.
Brad is being killed by his own card both games. There's Crater of
brother,
Freedom. That's
Brad is not gonna be
unbelievable.
happy.
He's going to concede the game.
Oh, wow.
Elliott Wolchesky does win this match 2-1 over Brad Nelson, losing to a card that he has basically made famous in these decks. Oh,
Wow.
the irony. Oh, the irony.
Timely Tragic Slip prevents Elliott. Tragic Slip keeps Elliott at 1 life. And then a top deck Thragtusk, and then a top deck land to cast a Behemoth. Suddenly, Brad Nelson is sent packing.
Yeah, you can see the frustration.
Yeah, obviously,